So I want to talk a bit today about the mental side of sport. And I say sport because I'm talking about any sport. And from my experiences, I can refer to long distance running, cycling, and archery, and even wrestling. I wrestled into college as well, and so I remember seeing the same type of behaviors manifest in cycling or in wrestling as well. And that is, you got to realize going in that everyone's going to have bad spells, especially in endurance sports, whether it's running, it's a marathon, it's an ultra, it's a cycling event. People are going to go through bad patches. And so you can't give up. You got to just understand everyone around me is going to have a bad patch too. I've got to push through. But what's dangerous, what happens, it causes a lot of people to lose or to not do so well, or perform at their best potential, is they get in their head and they come up with an excuse. And I've had this happen. Like, I've personally gone through this. I remember, in the past, going through a bad spell in a race, and I'm in, even at the front, I'm in second or third, and find myself subconsciously coming up with a reason to accept second or third instead of fighting for the win. Like giving up and accepting that, third's good enough. My foot's been bothering me. I've had some knee pain. Training wasn't ideal last week. I didn't sleep well last night. And I found that I've done that without even consciously doing it. Like I suddenly realized that in my head, I was having this inner dialogue about why I would accept a bad result or why I would drop out at the worst case. And so you've got to be conscious. You've got to be aware of that. And if you're not careful and you let that happen a lot, then it becomes the norm. You become very good at coming up with reasons that you're not going to perform or do well. And that's really, really dangerous for you. And so you got to remember, you got to, inside your head, put that away when you're coming up with something in your head that would justify less than your best or would just give you a break from the pain, which is what you're seeking. Stop right there. Just stop that. Put it aside, get it out of your head, and focus on getting through this tough spot in hopes that it'll go away. Cramps are a great example. A cramp is an easy excuse to say stop, and sometimes you got to be careful. There's a balance here. Torn muscles don't cramp. Torn muscle fibers don't cramp. And so sometimes you can push through and they go away. Ideally, you stay on top of hydration, you stay on top of nutrition, and they don't happen. But in an ultra event, like a marathon, for me, back when I was running marathons, 2 years about it. And so you're preparing for 6 months to a year for this event, then you get there, you really need everything to align and go well for you. And don't allow you to take yourself out mentally, or the first bad patch you go through, a muscle cramp or whatever, you take yourself out. You've got to push through and see. And I've changed my way of thinking, especially because primarily now my ultra sport is cycling. I always think when I'm having a bad spot, I'm feeling bad, or I'm really hurting, or the intensity of the pace is just really, really bad, I always think to myself, they're hurting just as bad as me. Everyone around me is hurting just as bad as I am. All I got to do is go one more second than they do, and this will let up. And generally it does. If you're just patient, try to manage your effort, manage your pain level, whatever that may be, then it lets up and you get a chance to recover a little bit. Maybe you can draft for a spell and things turn around. So don't come in with a preconceived excuse, number one. I've seen these people that announce before the race why they're going to have a bad day. I write them off at the beginning. You show up to a ride, show up to a race, and you're telling everybody, putting your excuse out front for why you might not perform well. You're beat. I got you, right? But then when it comes along during the race and you find yourself having this inner dialogue, you got to practice putting that out of your head. Get rid of that immediately and push through. Bottom line, you can do hard things, and your body can do a lot more than your mind wants to do. It's about training your mind to be able to go to the limits that your body can go.